everyone.
Hi.
Welcome back to another episode.
Yep, this one's mine. And we are in December. Merry Christmas soon.
Yeah.
And I wanted to sprinkle in a nice little true crime story that incorporates the time of year. So I think it'll be a nice little themed month of some Christmas true crime, unfortunately, or fortunately.
Yeah. We'll have another one on Christmas Day as well.
Yes, Kirsten will take you on a nice Christmas adventure.
Nice Christmas mystery.
Yes. But my Christmas mystery, mine's a mystery too, really.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. My Christmas mystery is. Oh, I can bring it up. All right. And before I even say what it is, Kirsten, you didn't know about this story or anything beforehand, right?
I do know of this case, yeah.
You do. Okay, so
hmm
this is it. All maybe some of the details will be new to you, but
Yeah.
okay. So it was Christmas Eve, 1945, and the Sodder family was settling in for the night. It was a cold winter evening, cozied in their beds until the fire alarms went off. 5 out of the 10 children were trapped in the second floor. Mom and Dad were frantically trying to rush to save them, but the fire trucks never came in time. When the smoke cleared, there were no bodies, no remains, just the empty, charred beds of the 5 vanished children. I will be covering today the Sodder children's disappearance. Was it a tragic house fire or a chilling decade-long cover-up?
Oh. Let's find out.
Yes. Giorgio Sodu was born in 1895 in Tulsa, Sardinia, Italy. He came over to America when he was 13 years old with his one older brother. Once the boys were off the boat and cleared by customs in Ellis Island, the older brother turned around and decided to go right back home. Giorgio, I can't say it. Giorgio was left alone here, but that did not stop him from quickly trying to find work. He began going by the name George Sodder to make things easier. His first job was in Pennsylvania, working to bring food, water, and other supplies to railroad workers. He only took a few years to find better work as a driver in Smithers, West Virginia. George proved to be a go-getter because he opened his own trucking business then. First, he hauled fill dirt to various construction sites, but later began hauling coal from the coal mining industry in West Virginia. In the small town of Smithers, there was a little shop owned by Italian immigrants. The owner had a daughter named Jenny Cipriani that caught George's eye. They ended up getting married in 1922. Right away, they settled outside of Fayetteville, where there was a higher population of other Italians. This was a 2-story house made of timber with lots of room to start a family. And that didn't take long because the first child was born the next year in 1923. They continued having 9 more children with a total of 10.
Holy crap.
Big family, yeah.
Yeah.
The last born was Sylvia in 1942. Everything for the family is going great. George's business is thriving. They're having a huge, beautiful family. And they even became known as a respected middle-class family to all the locals. A lot of these locals were Italian, and George had a very strong opinion of the Italian dictator Benito Mussolini, which caused a few arguments with customers. Mussolini was executed the next year, which in turn, in October 1945, caused a customer to threaten George. A man who sold life insurance was heated over George's, quote, dirty remarks you have been making over Mussolini, end quote. This man decided to threaten George and his family, saying his house will go up in smoke with all of the children inside.
Why is this
That's
person so obsessed with a leader of another country? You're
I
getting in a fight with someone over a leader of a different country.
Yep. And I said, that's a hell of a threat over politics, but it seems nothing has changed in 80 years.
No, it really hasn't. That's terrible.
Yes. So, I mean, pick your battles, I guess, and that was theirs that day.
Yeah.
So life is still happening for the family, though. 17-year-old son Joe left home to serve in World War II. George decided to do a little upgrade to a on the stove to an electric stove in the house, which required him to rewire the entire house, which he did have professionally done. A friend visiting his house one day, looking for a little bit of work from him, had noticed two fuse boxes that concerned him enough to say to George, quote, "These could cause a fire someday," end quote. But George got it professionally done, so he thought nothing of it. One other strange thing that was pointed out by the older son was him noticing a car with multiple people outside of the house seeming to be watching the children. So now we're on Christmas Eve, 1945. The
That's
Sodder
creepy.
family, yeah. Christmas Eve, 1945, the Sodder family is buzzing with the holiday cheer. 19-year-old Marion had gotten a job at a dime store in town and was able to buy her three younger sisters some toys and treats. She was so excited to give 12-year-old Martha, 8-year-old Jenny, and 5-year-old Betty their gifts. And as you can imagine, the other kids were very excited for Santa to be coming that night as well.
Yeah.
Usually the kids were in bed by 10, but they begged their mom to stay up later. The mom reminded the kids that they needed to feed the chickens and put up the cows, and as long as they got all of their chores done and that the two older boys stayed up with them, then the kids could stay up past their bedtime. 14-year-old Maurice and 9-year-old Louis quickly completed their chores. The two oldest boys, 22-year-old John and 16-year-old George Jr., had worked with their father that day, so they were pretty tired. They didn't end up staying up much later with the other siblings. Mom took 3-year-old Sylvia with her upstairs to head to bed with George, who was already tucked in to bed from his long day of work. So randomly that night at 12:30 a.m., the telephone rang, causing the mom, Jenny, to get out of bed to answer. A woman on the other end, who Jenny couldn't recognize the voice, asked for a name that Jenny didn't recognize either. Between the clinking of glasses and laughter in the background, she informed the woman that she had the wrong number and they hung up. Before making her way to bed, she looked around downstairs to find that Marion, one of the children, had fallen asleep on the couch. The lights were still on and the curtains were still wide open. Usually at nighttime, the routine is that the kids know that they need to turn off the lights and to close the curtains before going to bed. She just assumed they forgot and that they went upstairs to the attic to go to bed. She turned everything off and closed up before she returned to her bed. She wasn't in bed long before, at 1 a.m., a loud bang on the roof ripped Jenny from her sleep again.
It's Santa.
That was good. Good. If the kids heard that, that's what they would all have been coming running. Mom, Santa's on
Yeah.
the roof.
Mom, Santa's here.
God, could you imagine? She heard the bang and then a rolling sound on the roof before she didn't hear anything else. After about 30 minutes, she began to smell smoke, so she got up to investigate. When she entered George's home office, she found the room on fire and full of smoke. This room is located near where those two fuse boxes were that the friend was concerned about. She quickly woke up George, who then woke up the two older sons. The parents, the two older sons, John and George Jr., Sylvia, the youngest, and Marion, who fell asleep on the couch, all escaped the burning house. Out in the front yard, the parents yelled desperately to the 5 remaining children in the attic to get up. The stairway leading to the attic was entirely engulfed in flames. John had told police later he originally went up to yell at his siblings to get up, but he later changed his statement that he never actually saw his siblings and had just yelled up the stairs to them.
No one bothered to check if they were getting up?
Nope, nobody went up and actually had eyes on the kids.
The parents should have ran up there.
I agree. I don't know the circumstances of how the fire was, but yes, I
Mhm.
agree. With the flames, of course, they could not call for help from their house phone. So Marion ran to the neighbors to call for help. A driver who was coming down the road that the Sodder house was located on saw the flames, so they pulled into a tavern to call for help, but they could not get through to an operator.
What?
Marion was also struggling, but we aren't sure exactly who, but one of them reached the fire department and was able to ask for help.
Thank goodness.
You will see the series of unfortunate events that go on for this poor family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other children and the parents all stood watching desperately as the house burned with their other children inside.
Mm.
George, desperate, tried to climb the wall to break a window. He cut his arm badly, breaking it. He had searched for their ladder that he knew was beside the house, but when he went to the side of the house where it was usually stored, it was not there.
Hmm.
He was unable to find it. And so, also next to the house where that ladder was supposed to be, there was also a full water barrel. But guess what? It's the middle of winter. It was frozen solid.
Oh, of course.
Yep. Then George had an idea when he saw his two work trucks in the driveway. He was going to drive them over to the window and get up to it, but get up to the window that way. But both vehicles would not start, even though they were
What?
both driving just fine the day before.
All right, someone's doing something here.
Right? Out of ideas and resources, the family had to stand watch for 45 minutes while they watched their house burn to the ground. Because of the war going on, the fire department was extremely short staffed, and to get all hands on deck, they had to call each person individually and get a hold of them in the middle of the night
Oh
on
my
Christmas Eve.
god.
They did not show up to that burned house until 8 the next morning.
What was even the point of showing up?
I know. Yeah. This poor family. Can you imagine?
Well,
They're
you think
just
you're gonna
out
be able to
there.
help the next morning?
Yeah. Like, I don't ask me what they expected they were going to do at 8 o'clock in the morning when it was 1 o'clock when the fire started.
So what did everybody just say? Oh, actually, it's Christmas Eve. I'll come tomorrow. like,
I don't know. What
I don't
the okay.
understand. How did it take that long to get there?
Chief F.J. Morris, who was on duty that night, was unable to drive the fire truck, so he had to wait for someone who could drive it to come in.
He's the chief. Why can't he drive it?
I don't know. I couldn't figure out why he couldn't drive
What
the
is
damn
happening in
thing.
this town?
I don't know. It's West Virginia. I don't know.
My
One of the
god.
firefighters to show up at 10 a.m. to dig through the rubble was Jenny's brother.
Oh.
And you have to remember, this was also a different time as well. There was not any real training for these men, and they also had pretty old equipment, even for that time period, that was outdated.
Okay.
When everyone was finished searching through the ash, they hadn't found a single sign of human remains among the ash. But there was another report I found that said there was an organ and some bones found. I also saw that it was reported to be a beef liver, and I go into more detail on this little finding later.
Okay.
Fire Chief Morris believed that the kids burned in the fire and that it just burned hot enough to destroy the remains. And I Googled this for us.
Mm-hmm.
So, a human body is cremated around 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit or 815 degrees Celsius, and it is burned for around 2 to 3 hours. Bones are, of course, the hardest part of the body to burn. Not
Mm-hmm.
saying that they can't be reduced to ash with consistent high temperatures that are equivalent to a house fire. A huge forest fire is honestly what comes to my mind. A lot of heat for a long time will reduce everything to ash.
Mm-hmm.
But if you remember, this fire only burned for 45 minutes. This is not enough time, even with the proper equipment and the proper temperatures, to burn a body.
Yeah, how would there be no remains in 45 minutes?
Yes. Makes no sense to me. Morris wanted to get the fire marshal to come and do a more detailed investigation, so he told the Sodder family to please leave the burn site alone. Unfortunately, probably overtaken by grief, George bulldozed a 5-foot layer of dirt over this area. I know. The coroner ruled it an accidental fire due to faulty wiring. There obviously is no evidence of this since a proper investigation wasn't completed. The death certificates were officially given on December 30th, and on January 2nd, 1946, the funeral of all 5 children were held. The victims were 14-year-old Maurice, 12-year-old Martha, 9-year-old Louis, 8-year-old Jenny, and 5-year-old Betty.
Oh, so like all the young ones.
Yeah, it was all the youngest, other than Sylvia.
So the other children
Both
were alive.
Yeah, the other children are alive. The one was off at war, and the other one, the one fell asleep on the couch. Sylvia was with their parents sleeping in their room, so they took her out, and then the 2 older
Mm-hmm.
brothers were woken up, and they came
Okay.
out as well. Both parents decided to not attend the funerals of their children.
Hmm.
Marion is quoted saying, quote, "During the fire, I kept watching the windows, but I never saw even one of the children. I never smelled burning flesh. They say you can smell flesh miles away, but I never did," end quote. Shocked and grieving, the Sodder family tried to continue with life. After the fire, there were a few other strange things that George noticed. If it was an electrical fire, like everyone was saying, then why did the Christmas lights they had strung up remain on through half of the fire?
Huh.
You would think an electric fire would fry the electric, causing the fire.
Right.
He also found his ladder that he was looking for somehow made its way to a ditch about 75 feet or 23 meters from the house near the road.
What the hell?
Mm-hmm. Another incident I found some conflicting reports on. A man reported to police seeing a man on the Sodders property that night. I could not find this man's identity, but the story goes a telephone repairman was able to determine that the phone line to the house was cut. The police found this guy, and he admitted that night that he was there stealing a block and tackle and cutting the phone line. A block and tackle is the big pulley system that
Uh-huh.
mechanics use to lift engines out of the cars. The guy also admitted to cutting the line, thinking it was a power line, not a phone line. But for him to
Why is he
cut
cutting the
this,
line anyway?
I was thinking maybe since he's committing a crime, maybe he was trying to like cut the electric so they couldn't see him. But I was thinking, like, if you cut the electric in the house, you're going to wake everybody up. They'll be like, oh, my electric's out. And then they're going to go investigate. So might as well have just stole it and left, you know?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. For him to cut this cord, he had to climb a pipe that ran along the side of the house and reach 14 feet up to cut the line.
And this is on the Sodder house?
Yes, this is on the side of the house. Yep.
The Sodder, I said. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, on the Sodder house, on the side of
Okay.
it. Yep.
On the side.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's all on the side where he had to climb up where the phone line was like 14 feet up that he had to climb to get it.
Okay.
He insisted repeatedly he had nothing to do with the house fire. He was charged with the theft, but no proof that the fire was a crime or that he was involved in it.
Was this the man he had an argument with?
No, he comes back in
Just
later, actually, though.
just a completely different sketchy man.
Yeah, this was just another man, and I couldn't find the official report of like his name and stuff.
What are the odds that this man would show up on the night that the house burns down?
What are the odds that a random woman calls the house that
Yeah.
night?
Like,
There's
what was
so
that
many
phone
weird
call
things.
about?
Yes, there's so many weird things happening all in one night.
Yeah. Like, lots of, like, red herrings, like, but the family's just like, oh,
Yeah,
it just
like
seemed like nothing
nothing.
was.
Nothing's going right for this
Yeah.
poor family. George did wonder if this man may have tampered with his 2 trucks he had, and that's why they didn't work that night.
Mm-hmm.
But there was also a possibility, now these are older trucks, that in their frantic state trying to start the trucks, they had flooded the engines so they wouldn't start.
For both of them.
I know. I know. It's really hard. I'm very curious which I have no idea what happened at the end of this case. Like, I'm very curious to hear what you think.
Mm-hmm.
Jenny never believed that the house fire destroyed the remains of her children. Some of the appliances were found unburned, and even some of the roof shingles weren't burned. Around the same time, another house fire that killed 7 family members was printed in the local newspaper. It was reported all 7 skeletal remains were found in this fire. Jenny believed this was a perfect example to fuel her already growing doubts that her children died in their fire.
Mm-hmm.
Police tracked down the woman that made that random call at 12:30 in the morning, and it ended up being that she accidentally dialed the wrong number. It was all
Huh.
just coincidence with that. In spring 1946, the family made the area where the house was, um, and now it's covered in dirt, into a memorial garden for the kids. With the spring in and the snow melted, another look around the fire site brought up some more possible evidence. Sylvia, the youngest, found a green rubber ball like object in a bush next to the house. To George, it looked like some kind of homemade hand grenade. A witness also had come forward to report when he was driving through Fayetteville that night and had seen multiple individuals throwing, quote, balls of fire at the house. If you remember, Jenny heard a sound of something hitting the roof and rolling.
Yeah.
With all of this new possible evidence, the Sodders were convinced more than ever the fire was set on purpose and was not an electrical fire.
That's what it seems like.
Right? 2 different witnesses came forward with instances they believe they saw the children after the fire. The one woman was a neighbor, and she came forward claiming she saw the kids looking out of a car that was speeding away from the house. Another woman who was working at a rest stop closer to Charleston, West Virginia, claims she served the Sodder children breakfast. She also noted a car with Florida plates in the parking lot, but I didn't read that she had reported anyone else with the kids. With all of these reports coming out about the children being alive, the Sodders decided to hire C.C. Tinsley, a private investigator. Right away, he began looking into possible perpetrators. He found out that the insurance salesman that threatened George was on the jury that ruled the house an electrical fire officially.
What?
Hmm.
How is that allowed?
Maybe they didn't know about their feud. I don't know.
But he should have spoke up before he was selected.
Well, maybe that's suspicious.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
I
this
think
man's
you're right.
involved.
I think it's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Probably multiple possibilities, honestly. He also heard a rumor from locals that Morris, the fire chief, had found a heart that burned in the burned ashes, and he took it, put it in a metal box, and buried it. He never told the Sodder family, but the guilt was enough for him to confess to a minister. Tinsley went and got confirmation from this minister that it was true. He confronted Morris about it, and Morris didn't deny it. He promised to show them where the box was buried. They dug it up and took the contents to the ME, who determined it was beef liver. He then admitted he planted this liver at the fire in hopes he could convince the Sodders that their children had died in the fire.
Why does he want to do that?
I don't know, right? Doesn't that make him suspicious too?
Right, like, why are you getting involved?
Yeah, why wouldn't you want proper answers for the family? Well, I guess he was convinced that the kids burned in the fire, but
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking a little suspicious here.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine being a parent and losing your children. So I can't blame George for a few of the incidents that I go over. George came across a magazine that ran his story on an all girls ballet school in New York City. The one girl he saw looked exactly like his daughter Betty. He got in his truck and drove from West Virginia to New York City.
Oh,
When he arrived at this school, he demanded to see this girl. I'm sure with all his heart and soul, he just wanted to find his kids. But his demands were refused and he had to go home. And I think it's safe to say that that probably was not Betty, and I can't blame George for being so desperate.
yeah.
And I put a little note in here that, by the way, if you haven't listened to our last news episode, this is how a parent should be searching for their missing children.
Yes.
Not like the Melody case that I covered, where her mother Ashley was putting in zero effort to find her kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and wearing a disguise.
Yeah, so fuck that hoe. George is doing a
Yep.
great job trying to find his kids. George even tried to get the FBI to take on his case. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover responded personally in a letter to George saying, quote, "Although I would like to be of service, the matter related appears to be of local character and does not come within the investigative jurisdiction of the Bureau." He went on to say if local authorities requested the Bureau's assistance, he would, of course, direct agents to assist, but the Fayetteville Police and Fire Department declined the assistance. Just shy of 4 years since the fire, in August of 1949, they finally decided to dig up the area with the presence of a Washington, D.C. pathologist. His name was Oscar Hunt. He made sure this search was very thorough, sifting through all of the dirt. They did find some human bones that were then taken to the Smithsonian Institution.
Okay.
Their specialist, Marshall T. Newman, determined they were lumbar vertebrae from one person. He stated, quote, "Since the transverse recesses are fused, the age of this individual at death should have been 16 or 17 years. The top limit of age should be about 22 since the centra, which normally fuses at 23, are still unfused," end quote. The oldest child to die in the fire was Maurice, and he was only 14, so these remains were not likely any of the children. I don't know how far they dug down, but maybe there was a body buried under the house from a long time ago, but he did report that they showed signs of being exposed to flame.
Hmm. Or
But
maybe, I
that,
don't know, his just fused earlier? I don't know.
uh, maybe, but um, that of course doesn't explain where all the other bodies are. This is only
Right.
one,
Mm-hmm.
and there was 5 of them. And there was also speculation that those bones could have come from the dirt that George plowed over the foundation, which I thought was a pretty solid
Yeah.
theory. Where
And there's no way to prove it was one of the children. Like, they couldn't do DNA testing then.
no, they couldn't. And but like with the information that we have, I feel like it's pretty solid to say like the odds are it wasn't one of the kids because of the
Right.
age. This case finally caught some media attention in 1950. This caused West Virginia legislator to organize 2 hearings to see the Sodder children's evidence of their disappearance. After listening to all of the presented evidence, Governor Oki L. Patterson and State Police Superintendent W.E. Burkett decided that the case was, quote, hopeless, and decided they would be closing the case and would investigate no further. The FBI did step in and take this case on for the next 2 years. They believed they could investigate this as a kidnapping across state lines, making it a federal case. But after 2 years of them following up on every possible lead that came in, unfortunately, they all went nowhere, and the FBI decided to drop the case.
Okay.
Yeah. The Sodder family, of course, wouldn't give up. They printed missing flyers with all 5 of the children pictured on it, with a $5,000 reward for any information. This reward soon doubled to $10,000, which is about $122,000 in today's money.
Oh, wow.
That's a big chunk.
That sure is.
They also had two billboards made with the same information. One billboard was located near the house, and the other was put along Route 60 in Fayetteville. After the billboard went up, Ida Churchfield came forward saying she witnessed the children with two men around the holiday time. There was two men, two women, and the five children came into the hotel that she was working at for a room. When she tried to talk to the children, one of the men looked at her in a quote hostile manner before he turned and spoke what she believed to be Italian to everyone. After that, the kids would not talk to her. She remembered that they left early in the morning, but she couldn't remember the exact date. And I also didn't see a make or model of the car reported or any other details. Police honestly did not believe her. They also had nothing to go on other than her word.
Yeah.
And she also reported this incident like multiple years after she stated that she saw the children. So if this is true, like, why didn't you come out earlier?
Right. Yeah.
This next thing broke my heart even more. George followed up every lead on his own because he
Aw.
wasn't getting help from anybody. The police weren't helping,
Yeah.
FBI, nobody. He even went to St. Louis, Missouri, where a woman claimed Martha was at a convent being held. Another story came out of Texas where two uh, guys at a bar were talking about a suspicious house fire in West Virginia, but nothing came of these two leads. George heard that Jenny had relatives in Florida that had children that looked similar to his children, and he made them prove that they were their kids before he would quit.
Oh wow.
And it's just a desperate father looking for his
Yeah.
kids. It breaks my
It's
heart.
sad.
Yeah. In 1967, a woman from the Houston area wrote the family a letter that a man had confessed to her after drinking too much that he was really Lewis, one of the missing kids. She believed him and Maurice were located in Texas. And George had to go down and investigate this tip as well. He took his son in law, Grover Paxton, with him. But at first, they could not find these men until police had stepped in to help. They were able to locate and question the men where they stated that they were not the missing kids. And for George, this denial stuck with him for a long time.
Hmm.
Around Christmas the same year, Jenny received a letter with no return address, but it was postmarked in Central City, Kentucky. In this letter, there was a picture of a man in his 30s, around the same age as that Lewis would be, and it resembled what he might look like. Written on the back of this, it's kind of weird. Written on the back of it was Lewis Sodder, I love brother Frankie, Lil Boys, and then A90132 or 35. So this
Hmm.
is random. Yeah.
Yeah.
The family had to resort to paying another private investigator to go to Central City, Kentucky to figure out anything about where this letter might have came from.
Mm-hmm.
The family never heard back from this PI and they could never track him down.
Wow. So he took their money and ran.
That's what I'm guessing, yeah. The family really thought this was a huge lead and something could come of this. They even added it to the billboard of the children. In 1968, George is getting up there in age, and the leads had really stopped coming in. Quote, time is running out for us, but we only want to know if they did die in the fire. We want to be convinced. Otherwise, we want to know what happened to them. End quote. George sadly died the next year at 83 years old.
Oh.
Jenny and almost all of the remaining children continued to search for answers and follow up on any leads. Jenny stayed in that house that's next to the house fire site. She tended to the garden every day up until the day that she died in 1989. After her death, the family finally took down the tarnished and faded billboards, but the other siblings and their children continued with their search for answers, always doing interviews and any other kind of media they can. They even had older residents of the area speculating that the Italian mafia came and took the kids to try and get money from George. There is, of course, no evidence of this.
Yeah.
Sylvia, the youngest, her daughter is quoted saying about her mother, quote, "She promised my grandparents she wouldn't let this story die, that she would do everything she could," end quote. Sylvia was the last surviving sibling until she passed away in 2021.
Oh.
And that's it. That's all I have on the Sodder kids.
Yeah, I don't think this one's ever going to be solved.
We have nothing.
Yeah.
Literally nothing. But I don't think those kids burned in that fire. I can tell you that. I don't think the kids burned in the fire.
Yeah, I think the fire was set on purpose because
Okay.
of the trucks and the fact that the ladder was moved. Like they didn't want them to be able to help or get away or whatever, which is really fucked up. Um,
Yeah.
but how? Where did the children go?
Yes.
How did they kidnap 5 children without making a sound?
5 children, yes.
That doesn't make any sense either.
I feel like we just have so many also unanswered questions because like I couldn't find confirmation of anything, right? Like
Hmm.
I want confirmation that who did anybody see the kids go up to the attic? Nobody put eyes on these children that night. Do you know what I mean? Once everybody went to bed,
Hmm.
Maurice, I believe it was Maurice, it was asleep, or Marion, it's Marion, sorry, there's lots of M's, was asleep on the couch, and survived.
Hmm.
So did she see the kids go upstairs? Did she, like I couldn't find those answers. Did she see those kids go upstairs at night? Because I also want to know, like, they're the youngest kids. Did they go outside to play? Did they all say, like, oh my God, it's midnight. Let's go see if Santa's coming? They
Yeah,
go outside and, like,
and then we're
I don't
kidnapped.
know. There's,
Because it is
yeah, like,
interesting that they called up to them and no one responded. So
yeah,
maybe they weren't even up
yep.
there when the fire started.
That's
Yeah.
where my mind goes, is that the kids weren't even up there. In my head, I feel like they snuck out in the middle of the night and something happened or something like that.
Hmm. But what do you do with
I,
5 children?
I don't know, Kirsten.
Like,
What do you do?
and how do you manage to get all of them? It would have to be
Yeah,
multiple people involved.
yeah. And like, I don't know. I couldn't confirm what time that guy is saying he was at, because the fire's at 1 o'clock.
Hmm.
Like that's when she hears that noise. But I didn't find confirmation what time this guy was there trying to steal that stuff from the house and is like cutting the phone cord.
Right.
Like, did he see anything else outside?
And I
What
don't
time
buy
was
that he
that?
was just cutting a line. I think he cut that phone cord on purpose.
Yes. Like, what if he was there, like, working in cahoots with somebody else and was just, like,
Hmm.
doing that ahead of time, and it was, like,
Right.
later than, he came back with the real people and did it or something,
Yeah.
Like, there's so many we could come up with so many different
Hmm.
possibilities, I feel like.
Yeah, and like the suspicious car going by before, I feel like that was someone scoping the place out. Like, oh, here's a ladder. I'll have to make sure I throw that away.
Yeah.
They have
Yep,
two
the ladder was
vehicles. I'll
thrown
have to make sure
aside.
I suspend those. And,
Yep. And also, though, like, I couldn't get confirmation, did the trucks eventually start again? Did they
right,
need
that's what I
work on
was
them?
wondering too. Did they ever get them to
Yeah,
work again? Do they have to buy new
because
cars?
if it was the frantic flooding the engine type of thing, the car would eventually start. Like
Hmm.
nothing's wrong with it. But like, did it eventually start? So then, yeah, we probably flooded the engine, being frantic and pressing the gas trying to get it started.
Hmm.
Or did you have to take it to a shop? Did you have to fix it?
Right.
I couldn't find that information either. And it is an old case, so I
Yeah.
get why it is hard, but it's frustrating to like even sit here and begin to try and get some answers when
Hmm.
we don't have the answers to get to that answer.
Right. Yeah, and if they were kidnapped, like, were they
Why?
enslaved? Were they murdered? Was there
Yeah,
human
like why?
trafficking then? Like, I don't.
I mean, I think like obviously that family and George but like they had money. He had his own business. They had a huge house. Like they're hiring private investigators. They definitely like they had money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know. Like, was
Yeah, they didn't
was
ask for
he?
ransom. Like,
No, that's what I'm saying. Didn't ask for ransom. Um, nothing like that. So it's like I don't know. Who want?
yeah,
Why would you come take 5 kids? Or
right.
I don't know.
And it's interesting that it was all the youngest because I guess they would be easier to kidnap. So that's what makes it does seem like it could have been a kidnapping, as opposed to teenage boys that would fight back or something. But
Yeah.
I mean, the one was
Or
14, so he could have.
he could have. I feel like how are you stealing a 14-year-old with all the rest of his siblings?
Right.
Another thought that just came in my head, because everything in this family seems to just be coincidentally happening because they had like the
Mm-hmm.
phone call that night and all that. What if the kids just went out into the woods that night and got lost and never came back, died in the elements, and it just so happened that somebody else was setting the fire that night and just so happened the
Mm-hmm.
kids were out of the house,
Right.
And it just perfect
Could
storm.
all five sitcom. I don't know. Yeah, it's
I don't there's so many things we could sit here and come up
right.
with, honestly.
Because I feel like the only way they could have been kidnapped was if they were outside.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
how
I
would
feel
these
like
people have known that the children would have been outside? Were they planning to kidnap 5 kids all along when starting this
right?
fire?
Yeah. And like I said, Marion was asleep on the couch. Why is Marion?
Right. She would have been an easy target.
Yeah. And
With the
I'd so
windows
I
being open, they could have looked in and saw her. I
yeah,
don't
and
know.
so like how did she not become a victim of some sort of whatever happened, but the
Hmm.
other 5 did?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. And like I feel so bad for the family because like I
Hmm.
us here sitting here and we can't even come up with what is a possibility.
Right. And to lose 5 children.
5. Yeah. And like you could also sit here and speculate like maybe George and Jenny had something to do with it, but with everything, all the interviews, everything I hear, I feel
Hmm.
like they wouldn't be in on it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they were involved.
Yeah. But like somebody could even say that too. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
we say it doesn't seem like that, but that could even who knows? You
Yeah.
never know, I guess. I'm not saying they did. I don't I 100% honestly feel
Hmm.
like they didn't, but I'm just saying with
Yeah, because
the
like, what would
lack
be
of
the
evidence, we
motive unless for like insurance money or something? But that
yeah.
wasn't really brought up in this case.
But I'm saying with the lack of evidence, we could literally make any story.
Hmm. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, please, we'd love to
Happened.
hear theories.
Yeah. What do you think happened to the 5 children? Where are they? Do you really think they died in the fire? And if you do, I'm the same. I'm on Georgia's side. You need to convince me that they died in the fire.
Right, because I'm not convinced.
I'm not
Where are the
convinced.
bones?
Yeah. Yep. You can't. Nope. You can't convince me that with them not finding any remains since they did investigate it. Maybe we could sit here and argue if they didn't really like look in and they just buried it over and we're like, but they did go back and sift through and look.
Yeah.
So, and they found other things like in the dirt, like, like a book from the kids and like some coins and things. So, like, they
Right.
found household items from the burning fire, but they found nothing of the children.
Yeah. Hmm. That's
So, yeah,
crazy.
let us know what you guys think.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are enjoying your holiday season. I hope you stuffed yourself with turkey and you're going to stuff yourself with even more on Christmas and you get everything your little heart desires.
Yeah. Or ham. My family eats ham on Christmas.
We're having ham. Well, sorry, we're recording this before Thanksgiving, guys, but we're having ham on Thanksgiving.
Oh, are you? Okay. I've only ever
Yeah.
had turkey on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we usually do, when we would do big old family get togethers, it was ham and turkey because we had
Oh,
so many
okay,
people to
yeah.
feed. But no, we're just going to do ham this year. We're ham fiends in this house, so
Yeah, I don't eat ham often, but I enjoy it when I do have it.
I fuck hard with a ham.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Christmas, actually, we usually do a nice, like, prime rib or something. We spoil ourselves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's fancy. Thank you for watching. Please give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video.
Please subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of future uploads, and keep lurking around for our next video. Bye!
Bye.